The one-and-done era may be over for college basketball. The NBA has sent a proposal to the National Basketball Players Association on lowering the minimum age from entering the NBA draft from 19 to 18. Hello and welcome to Sports Court. I'm tonight's judge, Gianna Cutaia, joined alongside Kenny Ojeikere and Brendan Conroy. So Kenny, let's start with you. What do you think about the NBA changing the draft from 19 to 18?
I am all for it. As an NBA fan growing up all my life, I just love to see young, new talent. You see players like, in the past, LeBron, Kevin Garnett, Dwight Howard, and you also see players like Kwame Brown, who bust. You know, with the lower age out of high school, you get to see players and teams roll the dice and see, do they have it or not? You know, you see big boomer busts like LeBron, I said, and the busts like Kwame Brown. It's fun to make fun of them, but it's also fun to see your team win big, and it's great to see that glory. Also, I feel like players are just wasting away in college with that 1 year, that one-and-done rule. There's no real use of it. You know, you see people like Zion and Kyrie who just destroyed inferior college talent when they could have just done that year in the league and then, you know, keep progressing like there. So I'd also say that the college coaches, you know, they don't compare to the NBA coaches, I feel like. College basketball and NBA basketball are two different games. I'd rather have a Coach Popovich or like a Coach Phil Jackson over a Jay Wright or a Calipari.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with your argument that I like is how they don't necessarily need the college experience, or that they could come into the league with enough experience from high school or wherever they came from, obviously prep school, whatever it may be, to start attacking the NBA right away. Where I think they might need a little bit more focus on is skills, is everything it takes to develop what it means to compete in the NBA. Obviously, sure, Zion could have gone in the NBA straight out of high school, and maybe he would have been a threat. Maybe he would have been great in the NBA. Who knows? Obviously, we saw him, and similarly Kyrie, both got injured, lost a lot of their Duke seasons because of injury. So who knows what would have happened in their first year in the NBA. The biggest thing, though, is when making that jump from high school to the NBA or a prep school, that is a huge step. A lot of the people you play with in high school, sure, you're out battling them and just being 10 times better than they are in any game. It's because they're not going to the league. They're not going to the NBA. Whereas in a college scale, you get a lot more people that are talented enough to go to the NBA or have potential to go to the league. Whereas if you're bringing Zion from a high school atmosphere straight into the NBA to play guys like LeBron, Anthony Davis, and a Lakers defense, whatever it may be, especially a big man team that we have seen in the past with those Lakers, how can they compete? We don't know. I feel like we need a college little median to make sure these players are ready enough or they're tough enough to get into the league. Height, weight, that is more irrelevant than anything when it comes to playing with players of this high caliber. Obviously, as we've seen, we can talk about later, making money isn't an issue because more and more teams are allowing players to get deals to sign. So it's not a question of are they missing out on money, because they can make some in their college debut, they can make some in their college career. So it really just becomes a question of if they're ready or not to be able to play in the league when it comes time.
Why not win big and get those big bucks now is what I'm saying. You know, I'd rather be able to develop under NBA talent instead of college coaches and all that. You know, you bring me into NBA facilities, state of the art, everything you need at my disposal. You give me coaches, you give me NBA veterans. I take NBA veterans like Draymond Greens of the NBA. I take those over a super senior in college. You know, people that understand the game, they know the game, they have all the physical tools, but most importantly, the mental tools. I think that that NBA talent has the mental tools, of course, compared to college. You know what I'm saying? So what's the point of wasting that 1 year when you can just, boom, go right there, develop as soon as you can, quickly as possible, with the best, on the best level in the world?
I think it's because you need that 1 year. Say it's a year, one and done. Even if it's not a year, it could be two. We've seen guys who've stayed in the college area for 2 years, 3 years, because that's how long they need to develop. Sure, we're not talking about that, and sure, we're talking about one and done type players. I think the biggest thing is that the world we live in today, I don't think players can simply just go from high school to the NBA. I feel like with the way it is and the way the league is set up is that you need almost a year of growth, or at least a period of time where you can develop those skills as a player. Talking about having an NBA or NBA coach type person to give you those tips and tricks and to even help you or to coach you, that's why they have people from colleges or alumni that come and they can teach schools. We see that all the time. If Draymond Green wants to teach, then fine, he can go to a college practice facility and give his knowledge there. whatever it needs to happen, it can all in that 1 year of college. I think it's been proven by many athletes. Even Zion still did his best in college and still was the greatest college athlete of all time. So God forbid you have to go there for a year. You're still showing that you're the best. And if you're going to make it to the NBA, I feel like you're going to make it there eventually. You have to go for 2 to 3 years in college football. It's the way it should be in college basketball. Personally, I don't think you can go at 18 years old and have enough experience for not just the real world, but for the NBA at all. I think that you still need that extra year of college. You need that buffer zone area. And if you're making money there, why do you need to be 18 years old making $25, $30 million? Sure, LeBron was straight out of high school making a $100 million Nike deal, but these players now will make that money in the future if they can prove themselves good enough. If they can make enough deals in college because their image is liked enough, then their talent should be liked enough to make it eventually to the NBA, where they then can make the profit there. I think it's all just a process. If it's messed up, well, then it's just how it is, and you got to deal with it because that's how things have gone these last few years. But I think that trend needs to stay, where you get a year of college, get growth, and then you can finally be ready for that big stage and to make those big bucks.
That's a fair point. But I feel like from an NBA fan standpoint, you just like to see that young talent come in right away. People like Jalen Green who are coming in flashy as ever. And then for the future purposes, which is why we see this rule coming up, you see LeBron James Jr. And as an NBA fan, I would love to see that. Get to see Bronny come in earlier than expected, and then be able to potentially play with his dad. That's amazing for the fans to see. We know the NBA has been a little low with their revenues compared to the other sports. So if you bring in that more excitement, you bring in more pieces, you lower that age, we can see a lot of more excitement come back into the NBA. We can see their viewers shoot back up.
I got to agree with you there. Yeah, hopefully they're not doing it just to bring in Bronny James Jr. That's been a big talk, obviously, LeBron wanting to land wherever his son lands. So hopefully they're not changing the rules just for that. But I do agree. I feel like if they do get enough traction from those high schoolers, because there's been a lot of attention there, that they could get revenue up. But I think they really just need to focus on making sure that regardless, these players are ready and that they've just had the support and growth they need to put themselves on an NBA stage type level.
You both bring valid points to the table, but as the point of judge for tonight, I'm going with Kenny. I agree the NBA should lower the draft age to 18. And that's a wrap for this edition of Sports Night. For Kenny Ojeikere and Brendan Conroy, I'm Gianna Cutaia.
Hey everybody, thank you for tuning into this edition of Penn State Sports Night. We hope you liked that segment.
And we're sure there's other Penn State Sports Night segments that you're going to love as well. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content.
And check us out on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes clips and pics. Follow us on Twitter at PSSN TV and on Instagram at PSU Sports Night to keep up with all the action.
For all of us here at the Belisari Media Center, we are
Penn State Sports Night.